Thank you, Mr. Owens. It feels like deja vu every time we discuss Americorps and its inability to accurately track its own finances. Mr. Revis, Americorps has failed its audit for the 8th consecutive year. Is it correct to say that an auditor's, quote, disclaimer of opinion means the accuracy of Americorps' financial statements cannot be trusted?
That's correct, ma'am.
Mr. Revis, in your testimony, you talked about AmeriCorps' contract to upgrade its IT systems. I'm shocked to hear the cost of the contract has ballooned to over $18 million, more than double the original contract. Before I ask about this contract, is it correct that AmeriCorps has already spent over $34 million on this issue in previous contracts?
My understanding is yes, there was a $34 million write-off back in 2018.
Have there been tangible results as a result of that $34 million expenditure?
I don't believe so.
Can you explain why the cost for this contract has also exploded, yet again costing American taxpayers millions of dollars?
Yes, we're still looking into this issue, but in our early assessment, we've come up with 3 reasons. The first is that the agency used a firm fixed price contract, even though there were unknown requirements at the time of contracting, and despite its past experience that these types of contracts, the cost can quickly rise. The second issue was there was a lack of involvement of technical experts. There was a technical expert on the contract management team from the Office of Information Technology, but that individual was assigned to another project and wasn't there for most of the management. And finally, the contract was de-scoped, but the agency was not considering how it was going to pay for the de-scoped requirements.
You used a lot of words to describe incompetence. That's exactly, it boils down to one word, incompetence. Mr. Smith, you have a strange sense of pride. You are proud of some really unusual things. In your testimony, you talked about AmeriCorps' supposed, quote, return on investment, end quote, in its programs. Given that AmeriCorps hasn't known where its money is for the last 8 years and counting, I'm doubtful we know the true cost of AmeriCorps programs at all. Did any of these AmeriCorps studies compare AmeriCorps to actions by the private sector using the same or fewer amount of funds?
Dr. Foxx, thank you for your service.
It's a simple answer, yes or no.
I'll have to go back and look to see what the comparisons were, but I don't believe you can find a better return on investment than 17-to-1 for the type of work that we do.
Again, you have a strange sense of what's good and not good. I understand many of these AmeriCorps studies were cherry-picked from different programs across the nation. What seems more common to me are wasteful and fraudulent programs. In recent years, there have been multiple examples of AmeriCorps fraud, including $1.7 million here in D.C., $2.1 million in Denver, $2.5 million in San Francisco. This year, your own annual report, with its unaudited numbers, estimated over $40 million in improper payments in just 2 programs. Of course, this is just the fraud we know of. Mr. Smith, do you think fraudulent programs and improper payments provide a good ROI for taxpayer dollars?
Absolutely not. And there's no evidence to prove that AmeriCorps sees any more fraud than any other federal agency, but there is evidence to show that we are doing something about it.
In the past 8 years, American taxpayers have given AmeriCorps over $8 billion and gotten 8 straight failed audits, waste, fraud, and fraud in return. It is the poster child for waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government. The answer is certainly not more funding. It's time to cut taxpayer losses and eliminate AmeriCorps. It can't come fast enough. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.